Yeah, it's Forristicat here. Happy New Year to everyone. So today I want to put forward my opinions on the movie The Hobbit with the sort of subtitle An Unexpected Journey. So Australia got this movie a little bit later than everyone else. So on a couple of days after Boxing Day, I thought, you know what, I just have to see this movie regardless. It's sort of one of those hot movies to see, I guess. And I think I'm disappointed with this movie. How can I put this? Yeah, this happens many times. Like, a movie does a couple of things well, but then unfortunately, like, there are things which happen like shortly after that, which actually detract from the successes which the movie made. So I mentioned like Skyfall did that a little bit, and such is the case with this movie. But yeah, I'll start off with some positives. I remember when I read the book. Actually, I'm really bad at reading books. I actually didn't finish The Hobbit, but I remember like a lot of the book was about the camaraderie between so many different characters, and I was aware like a large part of the sort of start of the movie was going to be like set in sort of side the Hobbit cave and stuff, and like them talking, completely like changing the environment and stuff, and like mucking around with the kitchen and talking, and that's one thing that they did well. Like that scene where they're drinking, they're eating, they're defying the laws of physics. That was done very well. Like I like that sort of fantastical feel that the movie had. And this goes without saying that this movie, which I saw in 3D, is a very beautiful movie. But you know what? This is not something which we have not seen before, and that's the thing. Like, people that make these movies have got to understand. Like, it really blows my mind that like they spend all this time like making these movies look really good, like like a visual feast for the senses, and then they write a story which is subpar. They put in some plot contrivances which don't make sense. They try and force a couple of like emotional moments which don't really work out, and it's like, geez man, like, okay, the movie looks fantastic, the kids are gonna like it, but still it's not a movie which was what I wanted to be. And I think like what I'm learning now, I can sort of detect from trailers whether a movie's going to be good or not. And usually the best trailers are the trailers that sort of like you don't really they leave a bit of mystery to it. It doesn't feel like you've seen the whole movie. And when I saw the trailer for The Hobbit, it did feel like I literally had seen the whole movie, and I said, you know what, this movie's not going to be that good. I really don't think that that sort of like my expectations were changed, because when I saw the movie I was disappointed. I think what this movie was trying to do, it was trying to it was falling too much in the shadow of the success of The Lord of the Rings. So look, obviously I can't like mind read or anything, but it was almost like the Peter Jackson or whatever who directed this was like, oh damn, there was such an epic moment in The Lord of the Rings when like Aragorn said, you bow to no one, and then everyone bows, and you got like the three hobbits stand, the group of hobbits there, and like the whole kingdom is bowing to them. And I'm like, wow, that is really like I call it a magic moment. Basically, magic moments are few and far between in movies these days, but when you experience a magic moment, you know when you experience it. Example off the top of my head, Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, he looks towards like the two suns in the sky. You got that haunting music playing in the background. That is a magic moment. It's like one of those scenes which like you remember a long time after you've watched the movie. So like to me, like he was trying to create these epic moments or magic moments. I mean, even the one at the end, even though I did get emotional when he's like, he says to Bilbo, like, I told you, you were good for nothing or whatever. I told you we could never be friends. And he's like, oh, how wrong I was. And then he hugs him. Even though it sort of semi-worked, it sort of seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed a little bit too expected. And I don't know, like I can't really describe it. It's like the movie was trying to force these moments of greatness which were not really deserved. So yeah, I can only speak from sort of like what I saw, because like I said, I haven't finished reading the book The Hobbit, but I'd have to say that that's sort of the major sort of downfall. That it sort of seemed like they were just trying to force these things, which did not really work out. My friend actually he left the cinema because, well, I mean, he likes action movies a lot, so he's like, oh, okay, well, where's the action? They're just people talking and not moving. I told him, you have to have your downtime moments to have your uptown moments. And like I said, like whenever I watch a movie now, I'm slowly starting to watch them from the framework of, okay, the two questions, what does this say about this character, or how does this scene move the story along? And with those questions in mind, which is not to say you should like overanalyze movies or whatever. Of course, you should view movies for entertainment, but at the same time, like it's sort of like a good sort of benchmark for where the movie's going, where it's failing, where it's good, where it's not so good. I think I like the sort of motivation behind. I can't remember the character's name. The guy who sort of his king was killed, and he has a fight with the orc with one arm, sort of thing. I did sort of like how he's telling the story and sort of has the flashback sort of thing. The whole eagle scene at the end was pretty well done. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed him sort of like soaring over the distance and stuff. The whole character of Gollum, I don't know what to say about that. Hey, it's like everyone's like laughing in the cinema over this Gollum character, and I guess the way I see it, like Gollum is a representation of the ego. Like I think when Tolkien wrote it, it's like, okay, this is like people's egos who are always hungry for validation, want the power, want the money, want the status, whatever. So people are laughing. It's like, shouldn't this be taken a little bit seriously? But I mean, I guess it is pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy. So, what was my favorite part of the movie? My favorite part of the movie was definitely what I liked about it was the honesty of Bilbo Baggins. So he's very sort of matter of fact, and he's just honest and open. And the scene that stuck with me the most is when he fully just admits to the guy he's arguing with throughout the movie. I can't remember Dwalin, or I can't remember the guy that's got the massive beard that is saying you should belong here, go away. And Bilbo just fully says, you know what, you're right, I'm not a hero, but I came back for you guys because I have a home and you don't, and I'm gonna help you in any way that I can. I do miss my books. I know I'm not a hero, but I'm gonna help you guys regardless. That movie, that moment there, it's like, okay, you know what, that was like the emotional sort of high point for me. And like when these writers write this movie, for me it's like like I said, I know it doesn't make sense, but it's like an emotional feeling I get. It's like a vibe, and I don't mean to get all woo woo or whatever on you guys, but like if you get the feeling or the vibe behind the movie, then you watched the good movie. And it seemed to me that it was just a lot of like I said, obviously it's a very beautiful movie, a lot of entertainment for the kids, but the whole sort of them dividing into 3 movies, I don't know, it seems like a bit of a money grab move to me. Obviously, like they could tell it in probably one movie or whatever. Like the ironic nature of the ending, how you got this tiny little bird awakening this massive dragon. But unfortunately, because this movie was not that good, I mean the second and the third ones have to be much better than this one for to get my stamp of approval. Because and that's another thing, like I do admit, like I was actually bored watching this movie, and that's amazing. That goes to show that we're gonna see like a million movies which is so much eye candy, like 3D, everything like that. But I was still bored, and that's even with the whole theme of the story being basically the whole theme of the story is going outside of your comfort zone into unfamiliar situations, growing as a character, and then coming back to your everyday life, and everything has not changed. It's you who has changed. So that's like the typical hero's journey template, which is why it works so great. But it's very hard to sort of differentiate it when we've seen it in so many movies before. So I think that I think it's a case of like insulting the viewer's intelligence a little bit. I think that I would have liked more scenes where people didn't sort of force information down throats too much. The whole scene between Gandalf and Cate Blanchett's character seemed a little bit odd, and I'm not sure if there's like a relationship going on there or something like that. But I would have to give The Hobbit yeah, like between a 6.5. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, slowly as I review these movies and games and what have you, like, yeah, my score is going to get lower because, like, you should only be giving, like, really good movies 8s, 9s, and 10s. And yeah, the fact that IMDb is giving it an 8.4, yeah, like, I don't take IMDb seriously, obviously, like, who has for a long time, especially when, like, I mean, like, I read one review and it's like, oh, he's done it, like, this movie is magical. But like I said, like, it was really weird. It's almost like, you know, like, this movie should be magical. I should be saying I like this movie, but there's just too much stuff which sort of, like, as much as it did well, it just did things wrong, which took away from the build-up of what was good about the movie. So, like I said, I do like the story of, like, you know, stepping outside your comfort zone, all this other stuff. I do like the idea of them going on a journey together. But yeah, it almost feels like, you know, Lord of the Rings, you know, 2.0. And yeah, there's just there's not enough emotion behind this movie for me personally. So story, okay, they have to go to reclaim the dwarf's home because their home is gone, and they want to, you know, reclaim the mountain and stuff like that. It did feel a little bit rushed at the start there, where, like, they're telling all this history, like, right off the bat. It was a little bit hard for me to follow personally. So again, I think that comes down to, like, you know, giving scenes time to breathe and fleshing out the story so we can begin to appreciate, like, the emotional importance of why these guys are doing what they are doing. And so yeah, in that regard, the story could have been, like, elaborated on a little bit more. Characters, yeah, okay, well, obviously there's, like, a million characters in this, so you got to focus on Bilbo, Gandalf, and the other main guy. I haven't read the book, like I said, but the whole nature wizard was just very weird and bizarre, so I didn't like that very much, but that's just my own personal thing. And yeah, like I said, the main fuel for the fire for me, which indicates whether or not I'm going to give, like, a piece of movie that I've watched a high rating or not, is emotions. Like, how engaging are my emotions, because that is really what has the greatest impact on whether or not a piece of fandom is good or not. And yeah, like, the most emotional scene to me was even though I said, like, it's something weird about the scene, maybe I need to think about it some more, but it seemed to me like too much of a copy and paste of a scene where, you know, like, you know, my friends you bow to no one. So in this case, it was, you know, like, how wrong could I have been? Like, I knew like, it was a little bit too obvious what was going to happen. So in other words, like, I'm thinking, geez, why is this guy being so mean to Bilbo? I'm like, oh, of course, the whole nature of jokes is to, like, lead the mind down one path, then at the split second change direction. So I'm like, oh, okay, so at the last second he's going to say this, and then he's going to hug him, and so that happened. So predictability was a bit of an issue there as well. Like, I want to be surprised a little bit, because yeah, surprise in movies and TV shows indicates that the writers are sort of willing to do anything and makes there more tension in the movie, which is another thing. Like, the whole idea of, you know, how the story is going to end. Like, you know, these characters are going to go through some ups and downs and come out on the other end, you know, unscathed and change for the better. Because yeah, the whole frame of it is it's Bilbo telling the story from the past. Also, yeah, that's another thing. Like, I found a little bit of the acting a little bit crap. So I didn't like Hugo Weaving's acting, Cate Blanchett's acting. That's another thing. Yeah, okay. Now a couple of more positive things are coming. The whole Gandalf just being such a badass, like, it's like, you know, especially with the trolls, sort of like just you just see his shadow and he just cracks the rock and the light shines through. That was fantastic. A similar move where he casts that spell which just, like, stops everyone in the tracks in the cave scene down there, in the mining scene. That's also fantastic. But yeah, overall, like I said, the story should have been fleshed out a little bit more, sort of understanding, like, the whole drive behind the characters wanting to get to this location, because I'm not emotionally invested enough to care. Like, I really don't care. When I don't care, I get bored, which is what I mentioned before. The characters, a lot of characters, a couple of good scenes in there, like you know, flashbacks to sort of like this guy's king was killed, and, you know, he fought off with this, you know, branch, which says a lot about the character. He's resourceful, stuff like that. And yeah, the whole hugging the Bilbo scene, it was very heartwarming. So yeah, overall, a lot of characters, but you've got to focus on the main ones. which they're doing. But the main thing is, like I said, the main failure here is the emotions, not enough engagement in my emotions here. So that's why, The Hobbit gets a 6.5 out of 10. Overall, I was disappointed. Actually, I can't say I was disappointed. Like, I knew this movie wasn't going to be good. As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, it's going to be fantastic, but it's going to be Lord of the Rings 2.0, so whatever. Anyway, obviously this is late because it came out in Australia late. So that's my thoughts, my random ramblings on The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. 6.5 out of 10. Sorry, Peter Jackson, but you're going to have to do better than that. Cheers, guys.